the price of success in that world, the price of success of being a great father, to be a great businessman, to being a great husband, is pain, misery, and suffering. If you want to be great at anything, you have to embrace struggle.
Welcome to the Better Human Podcast. My name is Greg Witz, and each week we're going to be bringing you some incredible and inspiring guests and topics that are going to take your life to the next level. Thanks for spending time with us. Sit back and enjoy the show. Nick, I'm so glad to be chatting with you today, man. It's super exciting.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad we connected.
Well, I am thrilled we connected. And, I've been wanting to ask you this question. I mean, you do a lot of work with men. You do a lot of work around mentoring and coaching, training. You're a CEO of a company. You're a retired military SEAL. And
Raider.
Forgive me. And, you look around the world today and it's 2022 and I look at guys and I have this big question mark. So let me start with that question, man. What do you think of guys in 2022?
Oh, we're soft.
Yeah.
Soft. Mentally, physically. There's that old saying that hard times create strong men create good times, and good times create weak men, right? We have done that. We have absolutely done that. We have created a system of weak men, allowing themselves to be manipulated, allowing their families to be manipulated, and then don't have the physical backbone or emotional backbone or mental backbone to do the things that we are supposed to do as men.
So what are some of those things? So let's sort of bring it back. I mean, we're defining the alpha male, right?
Yeah. And for some time, there's been attack on that, right? There's been an attack on masculinity, saying that masculinity is, toxic and this and that. And I said that it's actually the opposite, right? It's the opposite of the lack of masculinity is what's toxic. If you look at teachers, nurses, people that care for our children, people that care for people in the world, it's predominantly female.
Right.
So if young men, if their care and their teaching, if the majority of their time is been spent with females, then why or have men grown up to be bad? Mm-hmm. It's not masculinity that is toxic. It is the lack of masculinity. Now, people say this, oh, well, in the 70s and 80s and whatever, it was male, even down to like the 40s, it was male chauvinistic and sexual harassment. And here's the deal. Those things have always been bad.
Right.
Rape and sexual assault that's always been bad. It's never been okay. So don't paint the picture that was okay at some point. It was never okay. Right. Did people get away with it? Sure. They got away with it more at a certain time, but it was never okay. It was never the right thing to do. Beating your wife, never okay. Was never a right thing to do. Right. Still isn't, never was. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about men, not being leaders, not being, here you go. Let's talk about the physical fitness aspect of it.
Right.
There's a big difference in a dad bod,
mm-hmm. which
is being normalized now. They're trying to normalize that and saying that's okay.
You're seeing it all over social media, which is I'm into dad bods. And
it's a trick. It's a facade. It's a programming thing. Just like anything else, it's what they want you to say because they want you fat, sick, and dependent.
Correct.
And I can say it's the government. The government, tech industries, people in power, anybody in power want you dependent, sick, and dependent, fat.
Yeah.
So let's, if you look at that and I go, okay, look at strong men. If we had an entire America of fit and strong men, mm-hmm. would the last 2 years played out the way they would have?
Probably not.
I don't think so. Because you can't manipulate strong men. Strong men do what's best for their family and for their children. They set the example. So that's why I talk about, like, you can be a dad bod or you can be a father figure. We need to go back to father figures.
Yeah. I love that.
Anytime that you have someone that steals something, robs a bank, causes sexual assault, rape, robs a liquor store, I can look at that person and go, I wonder what's the chances that that person had a positive male role model in their life?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty slim.
Most likely.
Most
Right?
likely pretty slim,
And
right?
maybe even absent, right? Which
Right.
in a lot of cases, in fact, let's just segue. So your story had a little bit of that, which was at 12
Absolutely.
years old, you found yourself in a juvenile detention, correct?
Yep. I was, by the time I was 13, I had 2 felonies as an adult and absentee father. I mean, I had a father, but he was not present in my life the way that he should have been. And that's a different story. But, nonetheless, I didn't have that. Right. So what did I do? I searched for it.
Right.
And young men are going to search for it. And if they don't find it in the positive ways, they're going to find it in the most negative ways.
Correct.
Right. Because they're going to look for it. It's like when a kid acts, when a young man, like I have one of my friends, and we're working on him and everything. But at the end of the day, he kind of acts out sometimes. And I even pulled him aside. I said, you don't have to act like that. If you want my attention, you can just ask for it. Say, hey, Uncle Nick, like, let me show you something.
Mm-hmm.
So what we think is the kid's being a little asshole, but the reality is he is craving your attention. He is craving your guidance and your love and your acceptance. But what do? Go sit the fuck down. Get away from me.
Right.
We're not present. We're too much in our own shit to realize that there's a young man reaching out that needs something.
Right.
And you see it with kids all the time.
All the time. And as you were talking, I was thinking about my son, and I'm guilty of like, all right, just leave me alone. But I am very conscious of being that, in a lot of cases, the male figure in his life, or father figure, which I think is well described. And in some cases, taking ideally those best qualities of my dad and leaving out some of the worst, which is very difficult to do, right?
Well, because we repeat, and that, fucked up parents create fucked up kids that create fucked up, become fucked up parents, and the cycle continues. When's enough's enough, man? Right. When are somebody has to have the balls to break the cycle.
Yeah. That's what, I'm not 100% perfect, but I mean, that was my,
nobody is. It's the effort.
Correct. And that's my exercise, which is, I'm going to break the cycle of the Wits men. The Wits men were not, in some cases, good fathers, because they were extremely critical and dominant and aggressive and, all that kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah.
But, I actually wanted to share this with you. They did a study years ago with CEOs. I forget when and who did it, but what they ended up discovering, what they ended up sort of coming with the outcome of, is a male CEO has a greater chance of being successful as a CEO and leading the company if they have a fitness plan that they follow on a regular basis.
It's funny you say that. I'll tell you a story. When I left special operations, I worked for a company, got out, was making almost $200,000 a year straight out of the military. And obviously that's, great, right? I'm 31 years old and I'm making almost $200,000 straight out of them. I'm like, this is life, right? And of course, I got my contract ended, and then welcome to the real world of civilian, where no job is safe, and you can go from making 200,000 to $0 real fast, right? Long story short, I did some things for that company that they took after my contract was ended. The very next day, they took some of the programs that we were working on and developed that my team and I developed, and rolled it out to the entire company. That was kind of a light bulb that went on. I was like, oh, wow. So I did do a good job. But they wanted to take that and, use it as their own, which is, legally theirs. It's their IP. I was working for them. That's the way it works. But it was a real life lesson for me at that age, going, hey. So I said, I'm going to if I could do that for a $1 billion corporation, then I should be able to do that for myself. Not realizing that it's going to take some time, more time than that,
Pushing a rock up a hill sometimes, right?
Yeah. So, and I started my first company in 2013, December 2013. And I was like, oh, this is going to be $1 million company within a year. I'm going to have this thing locked up. And of course that never happened. It was a huge failure. But as I was going through this journey of becoming an entrepreneur and starting my, my first set of companies and building things and building marketing and learning all these different things about business, man, I did what every entrepreneur, I went all in, right? however many hours there are, 168 hours in a week. I was 168 hours in. I was sleeping under my desk, building business plans, networking. And I was just unraveling. I mean, Greg, I was unraveling. My weight shot up. My sleep went to shit. I was having all kinds of different issues. Not to mention, I was going through the quote unquote veteran transition of identity and not being a Marine Raider anymore, not being a force reconnaissance Marine or a Marine in general, and just being this guy that didn't really have an identity. I didn't know who I was. If I wasn't those things, I didn't know so I was dealing with all this stuff and I was just lost. So I said, how are people doing this? So I start, I'm smart enough. I'm a special operator. I'm like, okay, who is out there crushing it in this particular industry? So I started looking at people that weren't just successful, but successful in a picture. So in special operations, when you go through selection, they have this circle, and over that circle, they have other circles in it. And what we want is we don't want the super fit guy or the super smart guy. We want the guy that all of his dots that overlap with all the circles, right? We want a well-rounded individual, emotionally intelligent, physically fit, you know what I mean? Smart, has an aptitude to learn. We want all of those different things. Critical thinking, fast on their feet. So it's a balance, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I want to be the successful guy that's physically fit, has money, has a good family, all these different things, right? In the circle. I don't want to be the guy that's super physically fit and broke, or the guy who's super wealthy, but is about to have a stroke because he's 300 pounds. You know what I mean? So I started analyzing this thing, and I came up with, which I didn't even know about. Who's it? Is it Arthur Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People?
Steve Covey.
Steve Covey. So I didn't even know about that book at the time. So I wrote this article about the 6, I think it was the 6, not habits, but 6 things that the most successful people do. Mm-hmm. It was all the same stuff. And I don't remember all the 6 things, but this is what I do remember. The article is on my website. There's a short little thing, but this is what I came up to. They all wake up early. Every single one of them wake up earlier than everybody else consistently. They all wake up early. They all have a very defined fitness regime. And I'm not talking about like, you're this, like, you don't have to do what I do. Like I go crazy. I'm 40 years old and I'm still like destroying my body where I need I feel like I'm training like a professional athlete. I do jiu-jitsu 4 times a week. I do strength and training. I do all these other different things. I'm constantly in cold baths and saunas and, I'm on HRT. I'm trying to maintain
biohacking
level. Yeah. Right. But they don't have to have that, but they do something, right? They're doing some sort of cardio, some sort of training every single day. Every day there's some sort of fitness, they're running, whatever it is. They all eat super healthy. They all are restricted. They all have they have a meal plan person that's meal prepping for them, or they have some sort of restricted diet, and then they crush it at work, and then they go to bed early. Mm-hmm. Now there's some other things in there, but I looked at every person that I idolized or I looked up to, like I felt like their circle was complete, right? Their family, their fitness, their finances, all of that, right? The 4 F-bombs, if you will. And that's what I saw. There was a trend with everybody. If you had the 4 F's under control, right, then you all had the same kind of lifestyle.
Right.
So then I said, well, shit, I can repeat that pattern. I'll just do what they do. And then what I started to do was I started surrounding myself with those same type of individuals, because your network is your net worth, right?
Right.
If you hang out with
I saw your post on that the other day and you got some backlash on it, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious, and that just I like that. I'm like,
but it's so true, and you're not the first to say that, right? Which is your network is your net worth, which is you are who you surround yourself with. Back to some of the habits that you were talking about. this stuff has been out there. I've been saying this for a while. I'm in the industry, you're in the industry, training, development, coaching. Like, the knowledge is out there, the books are out there, the processes, the tools, it's all out there. You just have a simple responsibility to go out and start to try some of the stuff. And I think this is maybe back to where we began a little bit, which is, what's the problem with guys today in today's world is they're soft and they're weak, and Dan Pena calls them snowflakes, which I love the word, or the definition, snowflakes.
Yeah.
I also think there's just this absence of taking action. Like, people will literally sit there frozen. They'll stay stagnant. They won't move or take any necessary steps. I talk a lot about, micro actions or micro decisions, or action creates the path, right? And it's just simply about walking down there. Why do you think that? Why aren't enough people sort of, thinking like you and I, where they're like, okay, well, let me go out and see what works. Let me go out and do it and implement it. Hey, so sorry to interrupt, and thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you like today's episode and you want to learn more about some of our programs, like the Better Leader program that can change your life, go ahead and click the link below.
I think they're programmed. Okay. I think that there is a herd mentality. Mm-hmm. There is have you ever heard of like basically the law of averages? Yes. Or the law of mediocrity? Yep. There is with human beings, there's a herd mentality to where you want to call it the universe, society, the government, social structure, whatever, wants people to fall into this line. And a little bit of a shocker here. I'm actually kind of a nerd. I'm a geek. I was a big Star Trek fan growing up as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I love sci-fi. I love all that stuff. The most recent, the show Loki. Yes. With the TVA, the time something variant authority or whatever. Yeah. I thought that was interesting, because what they were doing was, what the TVA was basically, you had this one timeline, and I looked at like society like that, the herd, that's the herd. And anytime someone did something different, anytime somebody tried to break out of the herd, mm-hmm. they would come in and they would snip that off and kill it, right? And then put it all back into one thing. Right. Well, I look at the same thing. Everybody gets funneled into this herd. You're supposed to do this, and you go to college and you get in student loans, and then you go work this job, and then you do this for 30 years, and you go, and like, every time someone tells me to invest in a 401k, I just want to punch them in the face. Right. And I'm not saying that investing in a 401k is bad. I'm just not. What I'm saying is that is not to do. That is not the only thing to do. And if that's the only thing that you're doing, then you're probably pretty fucked. I'm going to tell you right now. So here it is, like, do this, go to school, get student loans, go get a job, work for somebody, put your time in. And then at 65, you can retire and start living your life. What? Excuse me? No. And so I think majority of people are pre-programmed from some society and then their parents and everybody around them to live that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what happens. But then when you get someone that's living that lifestyle, like for me in my business, I get a father, a husband that starts listening to us and starts having these conversations, and they go, wait a minute, I'm not happy. Mm-hmm. I'm overweight. I was told that I'm supposed to get a job and then put all my time in, take care of my family, provide for them. But now I'm 100 pounds overweight. I can't even do the things I'm supposed to do. Like when I get home, I don't have the energy to play with my kids. Mm-hmm. And they go, and they're listening to me and they're watching. And here's the beautiful thing about social media, right? There's a lot of negatives, but there's also some beautiful things. Correct. You get to find guys like me or guys like you and go, nah, bro, there's another way. Mm-hmm. And I just did a big talk about discipline in my private Facebook group for my coaching, my one-on-one fitness coaching. And basically, with that TVA, as soon as you start to break out from the herd, the universe is going to try to smack you down. Right. You start getting a little progress, you lose like 10, 15 pounds, you're starting to feel good, and all of a sudden you hit the muck. Mm. And what the muck is, it feels like you have cinder blocks on your feet walking through tar and the wind's coming against you. There's two types of people. One type of person goes, this is not what I thought it was. This is too hard. I am going to get back into the herd where it's easier, because you just go with the flow there, man. You go with the flow and there's no resistance.
Right.
But if you can weather the storm, if you have the strength to stop caring about how you feel and just do the thing, and we'll start talking about the micro talks that you were talking about, the micro things that you have to do. I have a great analogy for that. If you can weather the storm and do the little things and just take one step at a time and get through the muck, I'm telling you, there's grass on the other side and it's greener. And not only is it greener, but it's your grass and no one else gets to stand there.
It's amazing. You know, you were talking about so law of mediocrity or of average. There's a new survival, or so the way we survive is fight, flight, or freeze, right?
Right.
Very aware of that, right? Our primitive brain gets us, jacked up, and we either run or we kill it. In psychology, they're talking about a new survival mode, I guess is a good word, which is called flock, which is seeking coverage within the group and blending in. And, I call it becoming the zebra, right? You just don't know where the zebras begin and they end, and you just see a bunch of black and white stripes, and there's this need to flock. And, at first I sort of glanced over it and I didn't pay attention to it because I was like, this is nonsense, another term for another day. But as we've progressed over the last couple of years, very specifically, it's very much become that. And if you were an independent thinker or critical thinker, if you did have an opinion, if you did stand up, a friend of mine. So I'm originally from South Africa. Then we moved to Canada, and I just moved my family to Costa Rica last year. And what happened was we began on a working vacation, but I looked at my wife and I said, this is not how to live, because Canada had some of the world's most intense restrictions and lockdowns. I mean, Australia might have been worse, and who knows what happened in China, but Canada was bad. And what really,
it doesn't seem to be getting better,
and it's not getting better. And that was part of the reason. And I said to my wife last year, I said a couple things. One, I can't stay in this environment, and two, I think it's a big mistake for our kids. Like, we need to think about this, right? But what really started to get to me, and where I started to get emotionally pinched with the last couple of years, was when friends and family were starting to normalize things, all because it was comfort, and started to create a lot of conflict with family and friends. And some of those relationships were lost. And in a lot of cases, I'm appreciative of it, because, back to your network is your net worth. Who you surround yourself with is really important. But I mean, I think it's dangerous. And to that point that you were sharing before, the programming, the media, the social pressure, I mean, is what we got to sort of resist. And that's where I think it's really important, which we began this conversation, which is to have that father figure at home. The home is where everything begins. Like, as men and as fathers, we have, an incredible responsibility to make sure that we are sending these kids out into a world being able to think and make decisions.
That 100%. And I tell people all the time, the price of success in that world, the price of success of being a great father, to be a great businessman, to being a great husband is, and bear with me, is pain, misery, and suffering. And it's being tired. Why? Because pain, misery, and suffering is this. If you want to be great at anything, you have to embrace struggle. If you want to have, and give me I'll give you an example. If you want to have a great relationship with your wife, a truly great relationship with your wife, which I strive for, a great relationship with my wife. And our relationship is not perfect, but it is. No one is, but I strive for it to be a really good one. So what does that mean? That means embracing uncomfortable conversations. How many people really want to have an uncomfortable conversation and be vulnerable in that uncomfortable conversation to where your needs, wants, and desires, you're going to be upfront, open with them and talk to them about that? No man wants to do that. Right. But the only way to have that good relationship with your wife is to be open and honest and have uncomfortable conversations on both sides.
Yeah.
That's suffering. That's embracing suffering. That's embracing pain. That's because you might not like what you hear.
Mhm.
and they might not like what they hear.
Yeah.
But you-
But it becomes so important to talk about it and express it, because without that, most men internalize. That's the
Right.
big danger with us as men, which is the way we emotionally cope is through the internalization and the
Bury it down.
yeah,
Bury it
in
down.
the stomach, right? And you wonder why
Yeah.
we all end up with ass cancer. My father dropped dead at 60 from rectal cancer. Tortured soul in a lot of regards, brilliant man, very intense. I've told stories about him before. But boy, did that guy suffer with internalized emotion. And I only learned about this after his death. And my mother said to me at the time, she said, the greatest gift your father ever gave you was his death, because it did two things for you. It showed you who you don't want to be in a lot of regards, right? And it forced you to take control and responsibility of your life, your health, your business, your all of that, right? Because when daddy was around, it was okay for me to be soft. Dad was going to deal with it. I didn't have to worry about it, right? So
Right.
this is used to grow up real quick. You mentioned something. So you're talking about pain, misery. What was the other one?
Suffering.
Suffering. I totally agree. And as you were saying something before, we were talking about resistance. I thought of this line: resistance creates resilience. Without resistance, you do not have resilience. And I love what you were talking about before, where you mentioned discipline. Without all of this, the consistency, the discipline, the work through it, right? Man, bro, you are like I said to you earlier before we recorded, I'm like, you're the definition of a man, right? So for all the audience out there, you gotta go check out Nick's stuff. Nick, talk to me about, I really want to ask you this, which is change transition. You transition from the military, you're an entrepreneur, CEO, a coach, like you live in this world of navigating change successfully. And most people don't, because what change does is it fucks people up, right?
Yeah.
This whole world of change management process is just the corporate sort of Jedi mind trick to keep you quiet and in place and programmed in order to not sort of, react. But what we know change does is it puts us into the uncertainty. It shocks the human being, right? So what are some things that we can do to help deal with change? I won't even say manage it, but what do you do to successfully go through change?
First, you need to identify why it's a problem. Why is change in your life a problem? Let's take, and I can take a military guy, I can take a law enforcement officer, I can take a professional sports guy, or I can take a corporate guy. It doesn't matter. Human being. I can take a mom who put her life on the back burner for 20 years to raise her kids. It comes down to this: we as human beings attach our identity to what we do. So the military guy, like me, I was a Raider. I was a force recon Marine. If I'm not a Raider, then who am I? What I did encompassed the kind of lifestyle I had, the kind of clothes I wore, hell, the neighborhood I lived in, where my kids go to school, who I associate with, where, how I spend my vacation. I mean, it's bizarre, right? And you could say, well, that's not that extreme. Listen, any special operator knows, any Navy SEAL, any Raider, any Green Beret, there's a certain lifestyle that they all live, right? And they make movies about it. And you take that away from them, and this is the reason why you see those people struggle all the time. You take that away from them, and it really messes them up. They go, wait a minute, holy shit, that chapter of my life was the best chapter of my life, right? This next chapter is going to be subpar. I don't want to live this chapter. So they're stuck. They're stuck trying to relive that chapter in some way, or they don't want to move on to the next thing because they're afraid that they're going to be a has-been. That the best thing that they ever did was this other thing. Okay. Same thing with anything else. You take a kid who plays pee-wee football from the time he's 4 or 5 years old. He goes to middle school, plays football, high school, plays football, goes to college, plays football, gets drafted to the NFL, blows his knee out at 23, never going to play football again. Since this kid has had memories, for as long as this kid's brain has had memories, she's been a footballer. What do you think is going to happen after 23 if he can't play football? Right. Drugs, alcohol, women, gambling, self-destruction, because he doesn't know who he is. Right. It's the same thing in anything. Divorce. What happens is we are afraid of the next chapter. We're afraid that what we've had thus far we might have peaked. We might have been, this might be the best thing out. So if this was the best chapter, why would I want to turn the page? It's the unknown, right? The change is unknown. And we've attached our identity. So now we don't know who we are. We're afraid of the next chapter. We're afraid of the unknown. It creates this bowl of bad emotions, is what I wrote about in the book.
Mm-hmm.
It creates this state of depression, fear, and the list goes on, right?
Right.
But here's what's crazy, man. This is where the pain, misery, and suffering comes into play. Here's what's crazy is if you can find the intestinal fortitude to turn the page and start writing the next chapter, you're being an idiot, because the next chapter, if you so choose it, could be the best chapter of your life.
Right.
You might be missing out on the best chapter of your life, and you're too afraid to turn the page and start writing it.
Right.
I was afraid to turn the page and start writing this chapter. I mean, I've had a couple chapters, actually. I'm telling you right now, Greg, this chapter I'm living right now is the best chapter of my life.
It's amazing.
People are like, "Why you don't want to go back? You wouldn't want to go back and do what you used to do?" No, man.
Right.
I am freaking over the moon with what I get to do now, and the lives that I get to change, and the places I get to go, and the things I get to see, and my lifestyle with my kid now. And I had kids early, so I had kids young, and then I'm having kids again. I hit the reset button. I got a 2-year-old boy, and then we're working on a 4th.
No, you're a glutton for punishment, hey?
Yeah, I am. But it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I get to redo all these different things and do them in a better way. And I could have chose to what's the lowest form of communication? Remember when? You ever heard that?
Yeah.
When we say remember when's the lowest form of communication and conversation.
You know, I just posted this the other day, which is if you're focused on fear and regret, you're too busy focusing on the past and you're not seeing what's right in front of you, right? And that's true around anxiety. You know, I mean, if we look at basic anxiety, and it's not the entire definition, but what is one main cause or a driver in anxiety? Too much focusing on the past, so regret or fear or concern of the past, and projecting that into the future. So
right.
They remain stuck and frozen. And
yeah.
I love what you said there, which is people aren't even willing to turn the page. But the key line that you said there, which if the audience didn't hear, you get to write that next chapter.
Right.
It's not like you flip the page and it's like, all right, well, what the fuck am I going to expect? And the story's here for me. No, you get to operate with fluidity and choice and decisions and stuff. And that comes back down to the power of decisions. People just aren't willing to take it. And it's sad.
This is where I want men to embrace suffering. Because growth happens on the fringe. If you're comfortable where you're at, then you are not growing. Matter of fact, the world is moving forward and you're going backwards. You think you're staying where you're at, but you're actually falling backwards. So men need to challenge themselves. Every year I do something stupid. This past year I did a jiu-jitsu challenge where I did 2 jiu-jitsu sessions a day for 30 days. Horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked like my eyes were sunken in. I looked like I had cancer, man. It was horrible. And there was dark times in that 30-day challenge where I was like, I don't know if I can physically go on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah,
I did. And I had bad days and I had good days, but I got into a rhythm to where towards the end, it was like, oh, this is just what I do now.
Mm-hmm.
I train at 5:45 and I train at 7:30 at night. And I get a few hours of sleep in between. And then I just repeat this process. And the whole time we had a newborn. I was running 3 companies.
Yeah.
And people online were like, well, it'd be nice to do something like that if, all you had to do was that. I'm like, hey, asshole. First of all, I run 3 companies. I'm a father. I do all these other things. And I'm doing that.
Right.
I just don't have any bullshit built into my life.
Correct. And that's the excuses. Do you know who Sean Swarner is?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome dude. He's a mountaineer, a hiker. He's done the 7 summits. He's done
okay. Yeah.
And he's done it with 1 lung, and he's survived 2 terminal cancers. Right. And I was interviewing him, and shout out to Sean. He said something which stuck with me. He says the mind will give up before the body does.
Yeah, 100%.
It's true. And I think that's the work men have to do. It's as much as the physical and the emotional, it's that mental fortitude and that
100%.
Right.
The challenges are not for the physical. The challenges are not, the challenge is not about the physical aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is to do the challenge, to embrace suffering, because like I said, growth happens on the fringe. So if you're not pushing that needle, right? If men as fathers are not challenging themselves in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, reading a certain amount of books a year, doing something, a physical challenge. All of the challenges have nothing to do. We do a 30-day challenge. Why people fail? It's not because of physicality. Mentally, they break down mentally. And that's why men need to do these challenges and push themselves, because they need to embrace suffering, because they become more mentally strong.
Mm-hmm.
And as men, we have to be as mentally strong as we can get. So if we get to this level, there's always another level, right? We're always striving to be a 10. We'll never be a 10, right? I want to be an 8, 9. I want to be a level 10 communicator, a leader, a father, or a husband, all that stuff, right? My mentor and good friend Bedros Koulian, he always says a 6 and 7 can never leave an 8 and 9, right? If I'm a 6 or 7, I can't hire an 8 and 9. I have to be the 8 and 9, striving to be a 10. We'll never get there because it's always out of reach, because there's always another level. You can never peak. There is no peaking.
Right.
And that's the reason why you have to embrace the journey. That it's the work that you have to fall in love with. It's the suffering that you have to fall in love with, because the end point, there is no point of arrival. There is no finish line. That doesn't exist.
Right. But that's what's sold today, and I think in social and media or social and society, that is what's pitched to you.
Yes.
Do this and then it will be happy. In fact, back in the day, it was like, get out of school, get a job, white picket fence, 1 week vacation each year, retire.
Oh God.
Right. And it's sold and it's pitched, and people start to believe this, and they start to buy into it, and it becomes dangerous. As I'm listening to talk, I do a lot of work around leadership, and I fly around the world and I meet a lot of leaders, men. And, the exercise of them learning a new leadership program is not it. And the work we do is a lot around sort of self-awareness and emotional intelligence and stuff. And, you get these guys in there and you start to challenge them, which is like, I appreciate that you've done situational leadership or you've done an MBA, but at the end of the day, your mental exercise and how you show up and your ability to make decisions and think and stay focused and role model. I think that's the ultimate thing that we have as a responsibility is, forget role modeling, right? Just modeling what we need to be and who we need to be.
It's funny you say that, because as you're saying that, I'm thinking about how I run my business coaching, right? And I've got people that are that are making 7 figures, to the people who are just starting, right? And I don't start talking about their business.
Right.
I'll get a little bit into that, but mainly what I want to do, because if they're like, they come to me because they want to grow their business, right? They want to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at them like, the reason why you're not making more money is because you're fucked up.
Right.
You're not living right. We need to square you away.
Correct.
You need to get the weight off of you and get you dating your wife and get your priorities in order. Because without that, you're not going to do shit. This is the reason why you're stagnant. This is the reason why you've plateaued, is because you have the issue. You're the bottleneck. You're the problem.
Right.
We need to square your life away. And then all of a sudden, and you do that, and it's amazing. It's like the fog is lifted. They have clarity of They have a clarity of picture of the direction they want to go, and everything starts to change. But it's like you said, it starts with the man. It starts with the person living right, doing the right things. Living, having a life of purpose instead of pleasure. All these men are seeking pleasure. The problem with pleasure is it's a bottomless dark hole. It's never. That's the reason why, like, a heroin addict can never do enough heroin. An alcoholic can never do enough alcoholic. A gambling addict can never gamble enough to where they're like, oof, I'm okay, I'm good now. It's a black hole that never gets filled up. But you switch that to purpose driven, and it's holy shit, you're fulfilled all the time. You're fulfilled every time you help a new person, every time you do your purpose, you're like, woof, that's amazing. And you feel satisfied.
A lot of people will ask me as an entrepreneur, sort of, what's the tips, the tricks, the process. And, it's to your point, it's the reason I've stuck around and I keep grinding and pushing through and doing what I do is because there's a purpose. It's never ending, right? And
right.
This year has been a difficult fucking year in business, right? But like, it hasn't changed the exercise, the effort, the drive, et cetera, because as we said, or as you said, hard times will fade. It's are there strong men and strong people after that to was it reap what they've sown?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Cool.
Absolutely.
All right, Nick. I can't believe how time is flying, but we're almost coming to the end. And I got one question that we want to end the show with. But before we do that, I want to, for the audience, where can people learn more about your coaching, your work? Talk to us about your book.
I guess, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm probably most active on Instagram these days. That's where they can find me. I have a text number, community text number. They can get direct, like the people that are real serious, just text me because I'm more, I get directly on that. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All of my stuff flows through there, and my website. And cool. If you're that guy that's stuck, and you're like, man, I'm fed up with the way things are, reach out.
Cool.
If I can't help you, I know somebody who can.
Amazing. And we're going to make sure that we get your website and your social handles and in the footnotes of the show. But for the audience out there, I love what you just said, Nick, which is if you are feeling stuck, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a leader, if you're not sure which way to go, call and get some help. And that's the other thing that I think as men, and we could sort of, segue this into the end, but we need to learn how to ask for help more often.
Can I hit on that, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I come from a very macho man arena of people, right? And special operations in the military. Mm-hmm. And there's this stigma or idea that if you ask for help, you get a coach, you need counseling, you do something, that you're weak. I think it's the other way around. I think the weak person is the one hiding with problems that don't reach out. I think it takes an enormous amount of strength to reach out and say, my life is not the way that I want. I need help. I'm struggling in these aspects. I'm addicted to these things. And like, for instance, if you're an alcoholic, I think it takes a real man and true strength to go, I'm an alcoholic. I need to go to an inpatient thing or go get some treatment. Mm-hmm. Like that takes balls. The coward thing to do is to pretend like everything is okay and to keep on going the way you are because you're too embarrassed to get help, or too embarrassed to hire a coach to move the needle in your life, or too embarrassed to go to couples counseling because of whatever, because you're not a strong, so you'd be looked at as not a strong man.
Right.
It's the exact opposite. The true man, the strength comes from going, yeah, man, I'm fucked up and I need help. That takes balls.
Totally agree. I totally agree. And on that note, let me ask you this. The show called the Better Human Podcast. By the way, I got a truck driving by me, so we might get that manly truck sound in the episode. But that's special sound effects that we brought in. So there's construction going on outside the studio. But at the end of the episode, we come to a very important question, which is, what do you think we all need to do to be better humans? So with that, Nick, considering the fact that we've just had this big conversation, what do you think we can all do? And maybe make it more about men. What do you think men can do to be better humans tomorrow?
I'm going to give you 4 things. Can I give you 4 things?
Absolutely.
They're the Agogi pillars. First thing is going to be your foundation is physical fitness. If your fitness and health is not there, your entire foundation is rocky and you have nothing to rely on. Your fitness is not just your physical body. It's your mind. It's your spirit. It is your sleep. It is all those things encompassing with fitness and health. Successful men are fit and healthy. All right. And I'm talking about that whole picture, right? Not just in one area.
Like the overlapping circles.
Exactly. So fitness and health, that's your one. If that's fucked up, square your shit away. If you can't square it away on your own, hire somebody. You'll make more money. You'll have better relationships with your significant others, your father, everything will go up. The 2, discipline. Have freaking discipline in your life. Stop giving into your creature comfort. Stop giving into your bullshit. Build a routine. Have the discipline to stick to that routine. Discipline breeds consistency. Consistency gets results, period. 3, remove any limiting belief that you have on yourself. Our limiting beliefs come from traumas that we've had, experiences over the period of 4 decades or however long you've lived, and the things that people have told us. One of the biggest things I hear is overweight people go, "Oh, my family's all big boned." Never seen a big bone skeleton. That's a false thing. I've seen a bunch of skeletons, never seen a big bone one. If there's one out there, send it to me. I'll recant my statement, but I've never seen a big bone skeleton. So that's a bunch of bullshit. We come from these certain sort of lives where, I come from a very poor family, right?
Right.
So, and typically poor people stay poor people, right? They have poor kids and then it just continues.
You learn to be poor.
You learn to be poor. It's a learned behavior. Okay. These are all limiting beliefs that you have. You have to remove the limiting belief. I have a whole talk about the whole elephant, how you train real quick. How you train a baby elephant, you put a stake in the ground, you put a rope around its neck, and the baby elephant stays there. That they do that same thing every day. All they do is they grow that rope, and that now you have the largest, strongest mammal that walks the face of this earth, tricked into believing it's right there. That rope represents everything you've been told, any trauma you've had, anything you've experienced in your entire life. It's holding you back. It's a falsity. It doesn't exist. It's not real. You've put it on your own brain. Remove them. If you say I can't achieve this or you don't believe this, remove it. If you want to be a fucking astronaut, I guarantee you can be a goddamn astronaut. Okay. The fourth thing, the most important thing is why. Why do you want to become a better human? And the reason why I ask that, the reason why I ask why is because when I tell your ass to get up at 4 a.m., go in the garage and it's already 100 degrees, you're going to do 200 burpees for time because it's going to make you a better man. Your why better be damn sure that it's important, because if it's just to look good naked, it's not enough to hit the snooze button. It's got to be something deeper than that. It's got to be something. For me, it's to be a father figure. It's to show my son that what a real man is. It's to be there for my wife. It's to make more money, to provide a life for my family. There's a whole encompassing thing. It comes down to my tribe. So when my alarm goes off, I wake up like I just did a line of cocaine, because the thing that I want, the thing that I'm building, I'm so obsessed with, there's nothing that can keep me in that damn bed, because it's go time. Because of my why. If you don't have a strong why, you are going to hit snooze button. You are not going to do the things that you're supposed to do. So those are my 4 things, Greg.
That's amazing. Better human, have a fitness regimen and routine, discipline, right? Stay the course, distance, manage those perceptions, those limiting beliefs, and then understand your purpose and your why. It's amazing.
That's it.
By the way, man, I got to tell you, so I tell the elephant story in my training, but it's not, the rope's not around their neck, it's around their leg. And as the elephant grows, the rope gets smaller, but the elephant doesn't know that, right?
Right.
It's a great story to help you understand how your perceptions start to become your facts, right? How your history becomes your narrative in the story, and as you just described. Nick, you're a legend, brother. Thank
you, Greg.
So much for taking the time. To the audience, we're going to put all Nick's information in the show notes. Make sure you go check out his stuff. Add him on Instagram. What's your handle on Insta, by the way?
My name, Nick Koumalatsos. Good luck. And you got NickKoumalatsos.
Amazing. So if you missed that, don't worry, audience, it'll be in the show notes, and definitely check out his stuff. If you like today's episode, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, and we will see you on the other side. Hey, thanks for listening today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, you're going to love the next one.